Language really quickly. You guys should have all watched the video while you were at home, either Monday or Tuesday, or maybe you watched it on Wednesday. Maybe you watched it on all three of those days. But you should have a little bit of an introduction into Shakespeare and what makes his plays special and timeless. The biggest struggle with Shakespeare, and you probably have already heard this if you know someone who already started reading Romeo and Juliet, or if you have an older sibling who told you that Shakespeare is the worst absolutely to read. Well, first of all, they're wrong. But second of all, the reason that he's so hard to read is because he uses all these old words. This worksheet that you guys are going to see on your little Canvas quiz, that isn't really a quiz, it's just easier to grade it that way. Oh no. Hang on. Okay, this is actually incorrect in that it says that the play is written in Old English. That's actually not true. Old English is what they spoke like before 1000 AD, okay, back when like the first kings of England were trying to unite the kingdom. If you've ever seen the Last Kingdom, that's the language that they were speaking. It was like a mix of German and Danish and whatnot. It was very difficult. It's very difficult to understand. What Shakespeare was writing in is called Middle English. So basically it went from Old English and then it started to evolve because England was now united and they all were starting to speak the same language. And so the language can still be kind of difficult to understand. And that's why I'm giving you this sheet to go through. So as you'll see over here, you've got the Elizabethan words. This is like your little vocab cheat sheet, right? And then to the right of that are the modern words, what they mean, okay? And then here again, Elizabethan, and then modern, okay? You'll notice over here that Shakespeare's contractions are very strange. This is because Shakespeare, not because people necessarily spoke this way, but because Shakespeare was trying to write in iambic pentameter, which means that he had to count how many syllables were in each line and make sure that his rhythm stayed consistent throughout his play. And so he might not be able to afford to say even, like it shows you right here. Instead, he'd need to say in, or instead of never, he'd say ne'er, or instead of over, and so on and so forth. Basically, he was trying to take these 2-syllable words, or in the case of whoever, 3-syllable word, and take them down into a 1 or 2-syllable word instead. So you just don't even pronounce the missing letters, and that helps you keep that metrical pattern, as this little note says. So here are some examples that I want you guys especially to pay attention to. Kids always get confused about thee and thou and thy and thine. So if you take Spanish, and maybe the other foreign languages are like this too, I'm not sure. But in Spanish, you have tú and you have usted. Usted is the formal way to say you. And so if you don't know which one you should say, you should always use usted, right? Because you don't want to be too familiar with someone that you don't know. Thee and thou and thine and thy are just the familiar you, okay? So we eventually got rid of them. We don't use them anymore. But whenever you see thou, it basically just means you. Thee also means you. So thou is used when it's subject, which you can see right here when it's the subject. So thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. You know the mask of night is on my face. Thee is when it's used as an object. So if they do see thee, they will murder thee. If they do see you, they will murder you. That's how you use thee and thou. You just replace them with the word you. Thine and thy mean yours and yours. So thine is plural and thy is singular. All right. They're possessive adjectives. And that's basically it. Don't get confused about those, okay? I'm giving you this cheat sheet so that you don't get confused. One thing that everybody always gets confused when they get to the famous balcony scene, this word wherefore. Wherefore does not mean, when she says, wherefore art thou, O Romeo, he's standing right below her. She knows where he is. So she's not asking, where are you, Romeo? I can't see. She's asking, why are you Romeo? Okay, and this all has to do with the name, which we'll get to when we actually get to that famous balcony scene. But pay attention to these. You guys are going to actually answer these questions in your little quiz here. You're going to do some translations just like you would do in a foreign language class, and have a little bit of fun with this Elizabethan language. But don't forget these words, okay?